The Alice in Dunderland project was born from my personal and professional experience where the arts function as a powerful tool. The arts enable us to know ourselves, to discover inner resources that help us survive the very worst times of our lives: grief, overwhelming stress, hopelessness. A pivotal point in my career as an art therapist was working with an 11-year-old boy in foster care who told me he'd been re-diagnosed with ADHD, prescribed Ritalin, and was self-harming. I knew that there was no mention of self-harm in his previous case records. I knew that ADHD is a debatable diagnosis and that the diagnostic criteria could fit any one of us. I took my concerns to the foster care agency and included research to support my concerns. I knew from both my own experience and research and listening to the stories of many people around the globe that psych medications, particularly in young children, could have very grave consequences, including suicide and homicide. I knew that a Google Scholar search of the terms medication-induced suicide, homicide, yields about 18,400 results. I knew that some kids end up selling their Ritalin in the schoolyard. I knew that Ritalin can become a gateway drug. I knew that medicating emotions in a child is unlikely to teach them to learn to handle their emotions. I knew from my own experience of taking antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications after the death of my mother, my very best friend in the world, how horrendous the side effects could be. And I knew that, at the time I experienced these side effects, I had no inkling whatsoever that they were medication-induced. I believed, as do most people, that the exacerbation of my symptoms meant that my depression and anxiety were getting worse. I tried to imagine a little 11-year-old boy with a background of trauma experiencing the deep level of dread and constant anxiety every single day that was my experience of depression and anxiety that I now know were exacerbated by the medications. Ultimately, huge body tremors, a sensation of microbes crawling under my skin, were the physical sensations that made me think I was going mad. I knew that part of this young boy felt unloved because he told me and showed me with his drawings and storytelling, and he didn't care if he lived or died. I knew that the mental health system and education system provides more money for support if a child has a diagnosis. I knew that not all foster care parents foster children for money, but that some do. I knew that all the information I had was readily available to anyone who could use the internet, including an 11-year-old boy. In bringing together the following 6 speakers through the Alice in Dunderland Truth-Telling and Consequences Looking Glass, it's a reflection and a reminder that this story happens to so many people and can happen to any of us. In sharing these stories, we aim to raise awareness in hope of preventing any further unnecessary damage.